how these randoms keep getting jobs. Don't worry about it. I'ma say, I can't wait to say it. I love it. I love it. Go.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Not Bland Show. And I'm your host, Dujane Bland. And of course, you know what to do. Like, share, and if you haven't subscribed, go right ahead. Go on and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We are here talking some NFL football. We were talking about the teams that look like they make the playoffs and those who have a slim chance of making that playoffs. Look, you know who we are brought to you by, sportsjourney.com and Everything Nitro. And of course, we are sponsored by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Look, in 2025, we're going to get to it and talk. Hopefully they'll know what's coming up in 2025. And we'll talk about the 2024 season a little bit and where all these plaques went to and the participation of this thing. It has grown exponentially. I spilled all over that, but it has grown a lot. And if you haven't gotten involved, you still can get involved. You can go ahead and lock yourself in and get ready for 2025. It's only going to get better. I'm sure the prizes are going to get better. The sponsors are going to get better. And we are glad that they are around to sponsor us here at the Not Bland Show. And when we come back, we'll have my guest. He is one of us from Sports Journey. He's my colleague, Conor Forrest, and we're going to break it all down.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Without further ado, he is one of us here at sportsjourney.com. It's my guy, Conor Forrest. What's going on, baby?
What's up, DJ? How you doing, brother? Happy Tuesday to you, my man.
Hey, happy Tuesday. It's been a heck of a weekend as far as the NFL goes.
Oh, yeah.
Some teams have put foots on folks' necks, and others continue to flounder around playing as if they want to make the playoffs, but really not putting forth a whole lot of effort, especially offensively, which we've kind of seen this all season with this flip-flop of teams, Jekyll and Hyde of a lot of teams in the league.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, no more than I think that's emblematic than when we talked about this on our post-game show on Sunday than the Atlanta Falcons last night. I mean, you're talking about, I think, 4 teams yesterday other than the Vikings who were just dead in the water. But talk about those Atlanta Falcons. I mean, you know, to me, it's very obvious that Kirk Cousins is just not healthy. I think people probably – I mean, he is playing the worst football that he's played, I'd argue, in his career. But it's hard to not look at his game and think there's something bigger going on there. I mean, you look at his advanced numbers, you look at, you know, his even his passing speed, as weird of a stat that is. He just doesn't have the zip on the ball this year. And it made me think last night watching, like, my Lord, his injury situation, I think coming back from that Achilles has really taken a toll on him. But as a whole, that Falcons team seems to be trending in the complete wrong direction. Obviously, they get a win, but it was everything but impressive. But yeah, I mean, across the league, this is pedal to the metal time. You know, this is where teams begin to separate themselves. And more importantly, I've always thought this is the time in the calendar year where teams that, you know, you can kind of bracket it out 3 ways. You have teams that are obviously on their way to the golf course or on the way to the offseason. You have teams fighting for that spot and teams that are already there. And for 2 of those 3 brackets, this is kind of a momentum push. You know, what momentum, what energy are you going to bring into the postseason? If you want to sneak into that 7th seed, if you're Washington, if you're the Rams, it's all about momentum at this point. And you're seeing certain teams take it and run with it. You're seeing other teams start to flounder a little bit, but it's let me tell you, man, the entertainment value, it's only going up from here.
Yeah, it really is. And, I look at this Falcons team and, yes, they played, it looked to dominate. They dominated defensively. But when they get against good teams, that dominance on defense goes away. And if you're scoring 15 points against a Raiders team that, you should be in a dogfight with, it's going to be a tough road to toe when you have to continue to win games and your schedule is the New York Giants, a team you should throttle, but you should have throttled the team last night and you were in a fisticuffs. Then you go to right after that, you're going to play Washington in prime time at their home. There's not really much room for error for them. And it looks like they're not going to win the rest of their games. Let's just say that. They're going to lose one of these things. And they got to hope that if they're going to lose one of these, they have to hope that the Buccaneers lose one or two of these to even have a shot to have this thing tied and them win the division due to a tiebreaker.
Yes or no question here, DJ. If you watched yesterday's Atlanta Falcons, would you believe that they're within one game of being division leader? No energy, no moxie. Darnell Mooney had zero everythings yesterday, which is inexplicable against a Raiders team that is, again, completely vying for either Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders. They're not interested in winning, and clearly they've completely quit. Their locker room quit 6 weeks ago. So it's just, to me, there's an eye test in football. Statistically, you can watch a lot of these teams and feel like, hey, we can crunch the numbers and I can start to tell you where some of these guys rank in the brackets. And then there's just a simple eye test. What do you see? What is a team telling you? When you see Caleb Williams on the bench yesterday, what does that tell you about that Bears team? What does that tell you about the mentality in that locker room? There's an eye test that I rank very high when I'm watching football. And the Falcons are failing every aspect of the eye test. They're not getting anything out of their star players. They're not getting anything out of their big paid players. Offensively, they went really all in on trying to make this offense work.
They did.
And what do they have to show for it? They've got nothing to show for it. And in an NFC South that I think was ripe to be taken by them, it was really, we knew going into the season, this was them and the Buccaneers, and they made the additions. The Buccaneers have fallen apart in terms of being a healthy team. Their star players are hurt. And they're still finding ways to win games. So the excuses are running out to me for the Falcons. And I think they have a very tough road ahead of them.
Indeed. It's difficult, going to be difficult. As I stated earlier, they are 7-7. They are the 9th seed currently. They need the Bucs to trip or fall on their face and hope for a tie to win this division. And with the way Kirk Cousins has continued to play over the last 5 weeks, it doesn't look like that trajectory is going to go up at all. You're talking about the Buccaneers. This guy here, Baker Mayfield, is playing career best level ball. Yes, you could count on him to throw at least one interception a game. Yes, but he doesn't seem to let that faze him at all. He's throwing touchdown passes, lighting guys up. And this guy here, Mike Evans being back, is a huge deal. But I think the bigger deal is Jalen McMillan and the fact that he's stepped up and has made plays in this offense. It has taken the ability of the teams to kind of focus and shade coverage to Mike Evans' side and force teams to play them straight up. And virtually with the running game working so well, this offense is very dynamic and has had a lot of success against a team in the Chargers whose defense was ranked near the top.
Right. 4 touchdowns to the air for Baker. And when I think about a receiver situation in Washington with Terry McLaurin and their lifelong search for that wide receiver 2 underneath of them. And why? Why is it so important to have the yin to Terry McLaurin's yang? It's always to try that Terry McLaurin is going to get his attention. But if you can find that number 2 receiver underneath him, you open up an offense in a way You exploit everything that Terry McLaurin can do well. You're using him as kind of a shade to get to your number 2 receiver. That's what Chris Godwin has always been for Mike Evans. And Chris Godwin is a top tier receiver in this league. I mean, he's an incredibly talented receiver. But as the years have gone on, he can't stay healthy. And obviously some guys just are that way. So you want to have a coaching staff, a locker room, and a team that's able to develop the next man up mentality. We say that all the time. It's such an overused trope. But Jalen McMillan, 5 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown through the air. Mike Evans is a future Hall of Famer. When he's healthy, he's unstoppable. But Baker Mayfield's just dishing it out. And I mean, they have found an ability. They beat bad teams, but they have a couple really big signature wins under their belt this year. The Buccaneers do, and it's not like they're coming into this postseason race with, well, you lucked your way into a bad division, or, oh, well, these guys do have some signature wins, and putting up 40 points on the road on the West Coast against a Chargers team, that I think has been picking up some steam recently. Yeah. I mean, they're 8-6. They're no joke. And you just stomped them. You just stomped them out of that game. So got to give so much credit to what the Buccaneers are building. Baker Mayfield's playing the best football of his career, no doubt.
Yeah. 4-game winning streak, and they go to play the Cowboys at AT&T, the Panthers next, and the Saints. And that's why I say you're asking for them to literally slip on a banana peel and fall on their face. And that schedule does not look like that's going to be the case. And Atlanta's got Giants, and the biggest problem they have is they have to face the Commanders and an up-and-coming a scrappy Panthers team at the end, who we saw last night in a dogfight with a team that's not very good.
Yeah.
It doesn't vote well. I don't know if they win 2 out of the next 3. It's going to be tough. I think the Buccaneers win the division and get themselves in the playoffs. Right now, they currently sit at 3. Now, they have a great running game, but man, what a tight game the Washington Commanders were in New Orleans. As we stated on Burgundy and Gold Post Game Live, if you guys aren't watching that or listening to that, you guys need to do that. We do that every Sunday after the Commanders play. Look, win is a win, and you got to sometimes in these late seasons get them how you can get them. The fact of the matter is, though, offensively, they have to do better. They have to do better. They need to be more consistent. And I understand Tyler was out, center was out, and kind of made a little bit of a difference there. You kind of saw that. They weren't able to run between the tackles, between the guards like they like to do very well. But you can't let this happen again against teams that you have coming up. I think it's the Falcons are next. No. It's the Eagles, then the Falcons, then the Cowboys.
Yep.
2 of those games are very winnable. This week, though, they've got themselves one hell of a test. And if they want to prove that they belong and can really sling their weight in the playoffs, they're going to have to show it coming this Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday is a big game. I said it on the post-game show, is I see this game as a measuring stick game. This is how seriously are we going to take you as a football club? How seriously is this postseason run going to be? Is this you guys were on a magic carpet ride to start the season, you kind of backed your way into this? Yeah. Or are you going to kind of take the bull by the horns here, the proverbial horns? I mean, 3 games left, of course. The Eagles, this is a team that if Washington does end up with the 7th seed, at this pace, the Eagles are going to be, Washington, likely will be going to Philadelphia to play them in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah. So it could be a playoff preview. Likely what it is going to be to me is we're going to leave Sunday and know exactly how serious this team really is as a competitive football team. Is this the Redskins of 2015 and 2012, where you kind of are happy to be in the dance? We're just happy to be here. Or do you want to go make some noise? And I think Washington showed you the tale of 2 halves. In the first half, they showed you against the Saints why they're in this position, why Jaden Daniels should and I think will win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He showed you why Terry McLaurin is the happiest he's ever been.
Yeah.
They showed you why, this core roster and this leadership is the way to go. This is the path forward for this team. They've shown you all of those things. And then in the second half, they kind of showed you all the things you were a little worried about.
Yeah.
Right? You're worried about, this defense and this offensive line that suddenly is dealing with injuries. Can they, hold their own against, again, a really dominant defensive front seven for the Eagles? How are they going to hold up? Cliff Kingsbury still can't seem to establish the run. I mean, I'm not quite sure why we've gotten away from it as much as we have. And I know Austin Eckler has been hurt, but Washington, even with Austin Eckler, we're never really able to establish a run between the tackles on first down or second down. Put a lot of pressure on Jaden Daniels. And you said it perfectly on the postgame show. You fed right into what the Saints wanted you to do. Hang around a scrappy team, not really much to play for. You got Spencer Rattler, who's literally just there because why not? Let's sling the ball around. And, hey, let's mess around and make this fun. So, I think for Washington, look, you get the win. You have to collect these wins. They're rare. You only get 17 games in NFL calendar season, 17 weeks. You get 16 games. So go get it. I get 17 games now, 18 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm all over.
Yep.
But the reality is Washington's going to have to find a way here to get their moxie back a little bit. Find a way to take that momentum baton and run with it because playoffs, man, we're 3 weeks away.
Indeed. And I want to welcome Scott and my barber, Brenton Bright, is in the building as well. Thank you guys for tuning into the show and those of you who are watching and lurking in the background. The Washington Commanders are the 7th seed at 9-5. Pretty wild, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of great records within this playoffs. And, 9-5, I think it's the first time since 91-92 that they've had 9 wins. Pretty impressive, but they've got to get it together because he's coming.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley is no joke. And, I said it earlier in the season that Saquon and the Eagles were benefiting off of bad teams and not really showing or doing a great job within the first 3 quarters, but because the opposing team's offense could not stay on the field, they unleashed Saquon Barkley in the 4th quarter. Well, they played a formidable team in the Steelers, and they pretty much waxed the floor with them. Very well coached football team. And what I'm noticing is Brown did get involved, but Smith is really having a year and has been the main target in the passing game. There's a lot for this Commanders team to be concerned about. We know and have watched this team, and stopping the run game has been a problem. As you saw, Miller in the second half gained 5 yards per carry and really was the catalyst in their triumphant trying to take and could have won that ball game. They're going to have to be a lot better for 60 minutes on defense if they want to have a shot in this game and not look up and be like, oop, we're down 21.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're 100% right. I mean, I think this is kind of a macho thing to say, but I believe this. I think the Eagles are a mentally weak team, and I think they can be had. I mean, we've seen this with them, on the sidelines, in the locker room, through the media. This is a team that can be had, mentally speaking. We've seen them turn on each other in the media when they're winning. And let's be clear, we're 2 weeks away, or 2 weeks removed, rather, than from, Xavier Legette. We're a Xavier Legette drop away from saying, hey, yes, the Eagles just lost to the Panthers, right? So exactly. This team can be had. I'm not confident in the Eagles. If I was an Eagles fan, I would be saying the same thing. They don't necessarily seem to pass the eye test to me, but they've got all the pieces they need to make another Super Bowl run. I mean, that's just what it is. Marshawn Lattimore's addition's really big here for Washington.
Oh, yeah.
I think in this week, you saw 0 targets, 0 catches on his side of the field. Now, that's his old team. That's a team that knows him very well. They don't want to test him. And they knew that he knew what they were doing. But so the reality is he's not going to have that same benefit this week. But he'll be keyed in on A.J. Brown. And that one of those two, like you said, Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown, they're going to have trouble against him. And that's why Washington brought him in. And I think that's going to be helpful. Look, the reality is Washington's going to have to play, I like to call it Frankie Louvu football. Hit the dude in front of you really hard.
Yeah.
Just get out in front of this game, start out fast, start out with some pace, play physical football. And if you're not going to take away all their weapons. They're going to find a way to Jalen Hurts and Saquon. They're just too good of a football team for you to shut them down completely. Shut down somebody. Give them one less weapon, and really try to just get after Jalen Hurts best you can. Pin your ears back, go all out, put pressure on Jalen Hurts because he can and does turn the ball over. So do that. Washington's going to have their hands full though. I mean, this is going to be easily their most challenging game, I think, on the back nine of this season. And like I said, it's a measuring stick, so we're going to know a lot about the Burgundy and Gold, come Sunday evening when we're talking about a win or a loss.
Yeah. I don't, when you look at the top three that are already clinched, you look at the Lions and the Vikings and Eagles already. I don't see the Eagles being the best team out of the 7, let alone the top 3 that have already clinched. I just don't trust them. And I know the Lions took a shot yesterday from the Bills. I think they ran into a buzzsaw. I don't think that's indicative of this team. Josh Allen is just playing next level ball right now. And I wouldn't say they weren't ready. They kind of got punched in the mouth, and the whole time they were just playing catch up. And sometimes when you get in those games, and I think this will be a learning experience for them, as they're not going to face a team of that caliber. Let's just be honest, in the NFC. Okay, that's just not it. It's the Chiefs and Bills over there. The Steelers are 3rd right now, but we saw what happened to them with the Eagles. Houston, we don't know what the Ravens are at this point, but the Lions just ran into a buzzsaw, and I don't think that's indicative of who they are as a football team. I think this is still a really well-coached football team and a dangerous one in the NFC.
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. I think the trouble for the Lions is actually more on the injury front. And the fact that they're now starting to fall apart a little bit in the injury category. I mean, I don't know how you can't cheer for the Lions and love their story and love that for their city. And they're so well coached. It's such a culturally great atmosphere and a great football team. But I think you're right. I think the strength in the NFL right now just is really just stacked up there in the AFC in the top of the AFC. And it's not to disrespect even, what the Packers have accomplished or even the Eagles, but I think we know where their ceilings are. They've kind of shown us over the last few years what their ceilings are. Mm-hmm. The question really for the entirety of the NFL is going to be what version of the Bills show up in the playoffs. That is the key. That's been everything for the Bills. When they are on, the Bills are the best team in football, hands down. When Josh Allen is on, he is better than Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in football. Yeah. The question is what version shows up? That has been the story of the Sean McDermott reign. That's been the story of the Bills as a team for years. Something tells me this year might be different, though. We haven't seen as many. How many years have we watched? And we watched the Bills melt down against an awful team. Yeah. Or we've watched Josh Allen taking his helmet and tossing it 6 rows into the stands out of anger after a game. This feels a little different. This feels like they are on a little bit of a carpet ride. And however far it goes, that they're not going down without a big swing and punch. They're a team I want nothing to do with playing. If you're on the AFC side, if you're on the NFC and you're in the Super Bowl, it's just not a team I want anything to do with playing right now. You just got to love the Bills and kind of really from a distance, it's just kind of like sitting back and admiring a really big firework on the 4th of July. You're just like, well, I'm just going to sit back and watch this. This is pretty. That's really what the Bills are right now.
Yeah. And this team here, who we think they're going to collide with, I'm going to tell you, Conor, I don't think that they're really showing their hand at all. I think they've got a handful of plays, maybe 2 handful of plays that they've been running all season long, and it's because it's been working. They haven't gotten into their bag yet. And, oh, yeah, by the way, at some point, they're going to get Marquise Brown back. So now they'll have a deep threat along with the Quickster and Xavier Worthy and D-Hop. And, you know, this man, Isaiah Pacheco, is running the ball with really pissed off attitude right now.
Yes.
And they're really going to have – the Bills cannot rest on morals of what they've done in the regular season.
Yeah.
They are going to have to continue to take that attitude and to continue to elevate it. If they think that they have arrived, they're going to find out really quickly that they haven't, because the Chiefs will humble them, because I just don't think that they've shown a hand yet. And one team that, you know, like this, that just continues to win, they find ways to win. They're not blowing people out, but they're just kind of hanging around. And when they have to, they win. To me, a defending Super Bowl champion is dangerous. And we've kind of seen that over the years, but I think they're even more dangerous this year with the simple fact that it's like they're not even having to work hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Chiefs have just simply earned the benefit of all the doubts, right? There came a point we got there with Tom Brady and the Patriots where you went, well, I don't care that he's got no weapons. Like, it doesn't matter if he's rolling up here with a couple Jags who used to play college quarterback and are lining up in the slot at wide receiver. We did that for years and years with the Patriots before he went, well, what else am I supposed to say? This is just what it is, and it works. You're right. For them, there's a different style, and they haven't blown out opponents this year. They haven't been at that dominant, let's put up 40-plus points, doing it with pizzazz and some sparkle. They just haven't been, but they don't need to, right? They don't need to. I've never felt like the Chiefs needed to do that. You know, Travis Kelce's slower. Sure. Harrison Butker's been hurt, hasn't been as efficient. Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, you know, Hollywood Brown's been out. That's a downfield weapon. You got DeAndre Hopkins on the back nine of his career. He might not be as, like, who cares? But they're doing it. It doesn't matter. They're finding ways to win games at 13-1. Their only loss to the Bills. And that was, you know, the Bills giving them everything they had. And, you know, it was 30-21. So, you know, it just, I think from this point on, as long as Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are in Kansas City, I can't come on to any show, mine or yours or anybody's, and say, yeah, the Chiefs are done here, man. This is a farce, you know, 13-1. This isn't the team. Well, all they've done is show us that they are who they are, and they've got rings and parade routes planned out. They've had multiple of them, and they're probably going to have a couple more. So you just got to kind of say, throw your hands up and go, this is the Patriots of 2015. We don't have a choice but to believe them.
Yeah. I don't doubt them being in the AFC championship game and it being a Chiefs-Bills thing at all. Quickly, the Ravens, what's wrong with them? And do they have a shot? Do they have a shot at doing what they thought they would do and get themselves in that AFC championship game and redeem themselves?
It's weird. I think they've got the tools to do it. I think the problem right now with the Ravens has been the fact that I think they just haven't been able to necessarily figure out, you know, how they want to balance Derrick Henry on the ground versus how much they want to put the ball through the air with Lamar. I think these are two stylistic differences. And, you know, the reality is for me right now with them is, you know, I guess in a way you can sit here and say, look, we can't doubt them because of the talent they have, but I don't know. You know, you lose to the Steelers in a weird game that just didn't feel like there was much cohesion. There didn't feel like there was much organization going on. You played right into the hands of what the Steelers want to do, control the pace of play and get after the quarterback. Their offensive line hasn't been particularly impressive this year. And I just don't know if stylistically they're balancing, you know, what Derrick Henry brings and what Lamar Jackson's strengths are, because those are two colliding. Those are two very, I mean, when you talk about, you know, a Joe Gibbs style of two tight ends set and a fullback in front of Derrick Henry, married with Kyle Shanahan 2012. I mean, it couldn't be more different than stylistically what you want to do offensively. So I think that actually plays a part of they have a little bit of an identity crisis, if I had to be honest with you. But, losing to the Eagles, I thought that was a game that they could have easily had. And I don't know. They just don't seem to have an identity, a cohesive identity right now. And you have to have that going in to competing with the top tiers in the AFC. I just don't think they have it right now. I'm not feeling very confident with the Baltimore Ravens.
They are the 5th seed right now. Behind them are the Denver Broncos, who they're not great, but they're steady Eddie. They got solid quarterback play, and their defense has appeared to be steady. Not great, but not terrible. Yeah. So, and then the Chargers, who are the 7th seed as of right now, they have some offensive deficiencies that really, really hurt them against the Buccaneers to a degree. Yeah. But I think a lot of it was too, they got jumped all over in the second half. And when they looked up, when it was 23-17, I knew right then that it was over for them. J.K. Dobbins being missed is a problem for them. And they'll probably get into the playoffs by default. The Colts aren't good enough at 6-8, likely won't go further, likely won't turn that thing around. And I don't see them tanking to even give those teams a shot. Dolphins, same thing. And surprisingly, the Cincinnati Bengals have 6 wins on the year after starting ridiculously poor and still playing semi-poor, mainly poor on the defense, and sometimes poor from the quarterback position football, and they still have 6-8. I don't see any of those teams breaking in. So that is your top 5. Houston has already clinched a spot as well, along with the Steelers. The Texans are kind of the quiet team here at 9-5. AFC South, not very strong. They are the strongest and have been the strongest team in that division for a while now. Do they have a shot at punching themselves and punching their way into an AFC championship game with what they have and what we've shown? Not as dynamic as they were last year, but they've quietly had a pretty decent season.
They have. I mean, it's pretty clear with the Texans here that it's pretty clear that CJ Stroud is in a little bit of a sophomore regression, just a slight bit.
Yeah.
I do think it's a lot more cut and dry that the kind of AFC top tier teams, on the divisional side with the Chiefs, Bills, Steelers, the Texans, I think, are absolutely benefiting from the fact that division is just not particularly good. But I do think that there is a bit of a delineation there between, the Ravens and the Texans there. I don't necessarily – I like the Texans as a team.
Right.
I like what DeMeco Ryans is doing and building. I still think they've been a little too inconsistent for me. My trust level in kind of the offensive line, defense has been a little bit hit or miss. But if you're really stacking up against the kind of the powers that be in that AFC race, I don't put them up there with them. I feel pretty confident about the Ravens over top of them. I feel confident, with the Steelers, and then Bills and Chiefs are who they are. Beating a team like the Texans, they don't necessarily have the flash or moxie they did last year. I think that team's a young team and it feeds off that. They're probably another offseason away, a couple more additions, a good draft away from, I think, really, really solidifying themselves. And again, in that division, theoretically speaking, I think that division should be theirs to be had for the next few years ahead. I can't see anything with Jacksonville's going the complete opposite direction. The Titans are a tire fire, and the Colts are the Colts. What have the Colts really done for us lately?
Nothing.
So I think if you're the Texans, I think you got to feel good about what's to come. I do think we're probably an offseason away from the Texans being, consistent producers on that AFC side.
Last one for me, the Rams. Do they hold on to this spot and get in, or do the Seahawks find a way to sneak in here and overtake the Rams for this spot? I'll start a little bit. I think the Rams are a bit hot right now. And they have appeared to be kind of tough to stop. They've turned into a different team offensively and really defensively with, to me, less talent.
I think I said this too. I might have said this on the podcast. Oh, I said this on my brother's podcast. I was talking to him. I said there's two teams I want nothing to do with on the NFC side in terms of playing against. If I were to see them in the playoffs, the Lions, I think number one, obviously before the injuries this last weekend, I think they're just a team I don't really want to see. I don't want to see the Rams in the postseason. I want nothing to do with the Rams team that, again, I think they are now playing the football that Sean McVay wants to play, which is I need my offensive line to give Matt Stafford 3 seconds, and we're going to sling it. Yeah. And it's going to be Puka Nacua, and it's going to be Cooper Kupp, and I want you to try to stop this. And I think when that offense clicks, they do what the Seahawks. The Seahawks offensively are just capped. They're capped offensively. And the Rams just have way higher of a ceiling. Going into the Rams schedule, I'd have to pull up the Rams schedule here coming up. Do you have the Rams' final 3 games in front of you here? I'm just pulling it up here. Here we go. I got it right here. So we got the Jets, we got the Cardinals, and then they play the Seahawks on the 5th. So I think by the time you get to the 5th, we might know what's going on there. But Jets and Cardinals, I mean,
yeah, that was a too easy one.
That should be two pretty easy games there for you.
Seahawks have Minnesota. They've got the Bears, and then they've, of course, got the Rams at the end. So they've got a tough one this upcoming week here against the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah,
and I mean, they really just got beat in really good by that Packers team, and I just, I don't know. I think that offense is capped. I think Geno Smith is a great quarterback, but I mean, I think we know where his limitations are. His limitations have been the same for quite some time. I think he could. I really do think the Seahawks can win under Geno Smith, no doubt. But they need more than what they're getting. From the running game, they need more. I know obviously Kenny Walker's been hurt. They just need a little bit more. And the problem is the Rams have the kind of talent, especially at the receiver room and at the quarterback room, to make up for those deficiencies. And we saw how they went after the Bills in an air raid, and that's what they have. And name me another team in the league, without a star quarterback that can go on an air raid and put up 45 points against an elite defense, 48 points against elite defenses. No, it's the Rams, and that's it. And that's why I just feel like when they're healthy, when they're playing the style of football they want, that is not a team I want anything to do with. I think just looking through that schedule, it's hard for me to say anything other than I think the Rams are going to sneak in there.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's going to be an interesting pack right now. They're the 4th seed right now. The Packers are the 6th seed. Vikings are the 5th seed if the playoffs were to end today. Well, Conor, thanks for joining us. Let everybody know where they can find you at and where they can find the post-game live show and your show. I believe it's After Further Review.
You got it, man. No, thanks so much for having me on. Yeah, but After Further Review, we like I said to you on Sunday, our producer Sean just moved down to the great state of Atlanta, so we're in the process of kind of rejiggering the studio a little bit. So we're going to get you an episode out as soon as possible. Sundays after every Washington Commanders game. If you're a Washington Commanders fan, I host Burgundy Gold Postgame Live presented by SportsJourney.com. You're going to hear your man, DJ Playing, Bob Matthews, join me every Sunday. It's a really, really fun time. We get it out to you really quickly after the game. So it's like our raw, game ends, we hit the mics, and it's just fun, man. I love it. It's been one of my favorite things. You can find us on sportsjourney.com. You'll find all of our write-ups, all of our shows. You can follow me on Conor Forrest _ on Twitter. Catch us on the other side there on X. But plenty of fun stuff, especially with these closing weeks, man. It's only going to get better.
It's only going to get better. It's going to be exciting, and hopefully we'll have some playoff football to talk about with the Commanders. But we're going to have a lot of good football, a lot of good playoff football to talk about here as we start to close this and wind this season down, man. Well, you
No
have a
doubt,
good
brother.
holiday, my brother, and we'll be in conversation, of course, over the
Always.
holidays. All right?
Merry Christmas, everybody. God bless you, brother. Great to see you.
Great to see you too, brother. And when we come back, I'll give you playoff scenarios coming in to week 16. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, talking funny cars with Buddy Hall. They actually had a live one at PRI. We'll discuss that in PRI coming up, as you can find me on the Power Hour, the Competition Plus Power Hour at 9 o'clock. We will be having Spencer Hyde, the newest driver of the Jim Head Funny Car. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk a lot about the news that broke, all that good stuff. As we get into that there. So I will start with our AFC look here. Those who have clinched, we kind of talked about it. If you're just joining us, we'll give it to you here. The Buffalo Bills at 11-3 have clinched. The Houston Texans 9-5 have clinched. The Kansas City Chiefs obviously have clinched, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have clinched a playoff berth. So Kansas City Chiefs can get the number 1 seed and first round bye and home field advantage if they can win plus a Buffalo loss or tie, or a Kansas City tie and plus a Buffalo loss. So we'll see if that gets done this weekend. But that's how they can do that this weekend. The Pittsburgh Steelers played the Baltimore Ravens Saturday, 4:30 Eastern. Our first Saturday games, the Kansas City Chiefs game and Houston game, will be at 1 o'clock on Saturday on NBC. So the Pittsburgh Steelers can clinch a AFC North division title. They just got to win, baby. There's only one thing they have to do. That's go out and get the W. And they can be your AFC North division winners. And will have that division title if they can simply beat the Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore. We'll see. They didn't have a good weekend this past weekend. We'll see if they can do that. Baltimore can clinch a playoff berth if they win or tie, or a Miami loss or tie, plus a Indy loss or tie. So they have 2 ways they can win this weekend and get themselves a playoff berth. There's 2 ways they can get in. So easiest way, man, you guys know, is just win, baby. Get the W and leave no doubt. Secure your spot. Denver Broncos played the Los Angeles Chargers this Thursday at 8:15 on Prime Video. The Denver Broncos can clinch a playoff berth with a Denver win or tie, or they can do it by a Miami loss or tie, plus a Cincinnati loss or tie, plus an Indy loss or tie. Again, just win. Just win. You're in. That easy. Los Angeles also has something to play for, which should make this game really good. The Los Angeles Chargers can clinch a playoff berth if they win, plus a Miami loss or tie, plus a Indy loss or tie, or they can tie plus a Miami loss, plus a Indy loss, plus a Cincy loss or tie. They got a little bit of things. They need some help, but they'll get there, hopefully. And they're going to try to do that this weekend. Your NFC, Detroit, 12-2, have clinched a playoff berth. Minnesota Vikings have clinched a playoff berth at 12-2, and your Philadelphia Eagles have clinched a playoff berth at 12-2. None have clinched the division yet. Philly plays Washington Sunday at 1 o'clock p.m. on Fox. Philly can clinch the NFC East title with a win. Just that simple. Win or tie, they win the NFC East. Green Bay Packers play the New Orleans Saints. They are the Monday night football game, ESPN at 8:15. They will clinch a playoff berth if they can just win or tie, or they can get it by an Atlanta loss or tie, or a Los Angeles Rams loss or tie, or they can get it by a Atlanta Falcons loss or tie, or Seattle loss or tie. So they have several ways that they can get it done, but if they win, they're in the playoffs. The Washington Commanders have something to play for this weekend as well. They can clinch their way into the playoffs if they beat the Eagles this weekend. If they win, well, they have a few scenarios, big scenarios. Win plus a Atlanta loss or tie, Los Angeles loss, Rams loss or tie, or they win, Atlanta loss or tie, or Seahawks loss or tie. Third is the Washington tie plus an Atlanta loss plus an Arizona loss or tie, a Los Angeles loss or tie, a Seattle loss or tie, as long as the Rams and the Seahawks both don't tie. That's a lot. So they can't just win and get in, but Atlanta could lose against the Giants. Los Angeles Rams probably not going to lose. So they're going to have to wait another week, probably, but they're going to have to just simply win, and they can help themselves a lot. So that's your playoff scenarios for your week 16 NFL football. I'd like to close this show by talking about one of our favorites here in Valdosta, Georgia, and that is our Valdosta State Blazers. Valdosta State Blazers are undefeated going to the D2 National Championship in Texas. They will be playing once again Ferris State for the third time. They are 1-1 in their meetings in the national championship. The most recent was pretty heart-wrenching. Loss. They will be looking to redeem themselves and hopefully add a national title to that banner that they have in Bazemore Hyder Stadium. So we will be sending them off tomorrow as they go to Texas for the national championship. They have had a heck of a season. Coach Jackson wins Coach of the Year. The team is just playing exceptionally well. Both sides of the ball, they look disciplined and they're playing as a unit. I think they have all the ability in the world to win. And of course, as you see, we will be representing them, and we'll be watching this weekend. It's going to be fun. Like I said, go ahead and join us over there at the Competition Plus Power Hour for your NHRA and your drag racing fix. We will talk about everything PRI. We'll be talking with Spencer Hyde, the newest driver of the Jim Head Funny Car. So go ahead and do that. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the last show of 2024. I just want to say thank you to all of you who watch later or watch us live. Those of you who have supported us with funding us, our sponsors. Just want to thank you all. Did not think a year that I would be doing this and it would have grown as much as it has in the year. We're going to continue to move forward and try to do our best to continue to bring the best sports and NHRA stuff that we can. Couldn't be done with you, the fan, outdone without you, the fans. And I want to thank all of the guests who come on this show for the first year. We are into our second season. Our year was in October. I didn't make a big deal out of it, but it was in October. So we are in our second season, but it is the end of the year. And enjoy family. Enjoy time off if you get that. We don't get it that much. And family is important these days. Things are just sometimes weird. And things can change in a snap and a blink of an eye. So I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Be safe. And I will see you January 7th at 7:00 p.m. right here on the Not Bland channel. And Yeah. Thank you. Until next time, see you in 2025. I'm Dujane Bland. This has been a Sports Journey production, and thank you to Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. We're going to come back swinging. See you in 2025. Good night, everybody.